just in terms of the press, etc. But I think probably I wouldn't have done it if I didn't think I could win. You know, if I thought I was going to be knocked out 9 people ago, I would have probably said I won't do it.
Trump's words cracked through the hall like a thunderclap. He wanted the crowd to hear not just confidence, but inevitability. He framed himself as the only figure who could not be defeated, as though the outcome of any contest had already been written in his favor. His supporters nodded, some even applauded, feeding into the aura of certainty he was projecting. But for many in the room, the declaration rang hollow. The statement did not sound like strength. It sounded like arrogance. It was the same rehearsed bravado that had followed Trump into every political arena. The cameras swung to Jasmine Crockett, and at that very moment, the entire audience sensed it. This was not going to be a polite exchange of opinions. Crockett's eyes narrowed, her posture steady, her voice ready. She knew the opening line was a gift. Trump had put himself on a pedestal, and that meant the higher he climbed, in his own words, the harder he could be pulled down. The tension thickened as the moderators tried to continue, but the energy in the room was already shifting. The crowd wasn't there for scripted talking points. They wanted a showdown. They wanted to see if anyone could stand against the relentless wave of Trump's attacks. And in Jasmine Crockett, they were about to see someone who would not only stand, but strike back with the kind of force that could flip the entire night. The cameras zoomed out, the studio lights blazing, and the moderator tried to frame the debate as a serious exchange on leadership, accountability, and vision for the country. On one side stood Donald Trump, the former president, a man who thrived on dominating every headline and turning every moment into a spectacle. On the other stood Jasmine Crockett, a rising political force known for her fearlessness, her sharp tongue, and her refusal to bow under pressure. This was not just another debate. It was a collision between two political worlds, one built on brash theatrics, the other on relentless truth-telling. The audience leaned in, sensing the electricity. Trump's supporters waited for their champion to dismantle yet another challenger. Crockett's supporters were eager to see her cut through the circus with precision.
They are. But the reality is that we need to start speaking more truth if we are really going to get to the real power. And if we don't recognize the full history, then we are doomed to repeat it. And frankly, this is a guy that is trying to do everything.
The crowd reacted instantly. Laughter rippled through some sections while gasps came from others. Trump shifted slightly, his smirk tightening as if he hadn't expected her to open fire so directly, so personally. Crockett didn't hesitate. She knew that reminding the public of Trump's privileged past would strip away the image of self-made strength he loved to parade. The moderator tried to restore order, but the exchange had already caught fire. Crockett wasn't playing defense. She was moving fast, forcing Trump onto shaky ground. The stage was set. A duel, not of politeness, but of survival. Trump adjusted his tie, leaned toward the microphone, and struck back.
Stops right here and stops right now.
The words hit like a hammer, but the delivery was strained. He wanted to project authority, to cut Crockett off before she gained momentum, yet the force of his command fell flat against the crowd's mixed reactions. Some cheered, others jeered. The tension in the room sharpened. Crockett didn't flinch. She stepped closer, her voice carrying with surgical precision.
She became a career prosecutor while he became a career criminal. With 34 felonies, 2 impeachments, and 1 porn star to prove it.
The studio exploded. Gasps, shouts, and bursts of laughter overlapped as the audience processed the brutal contrast. Trump's face reddened, his jaw tightened. This was not the scripted dominance he was used to. This was a challenger who knew exactly where to strike. Commentators later would say this was the turning point, the moment when Crockett not only stood her ground but swung the spotlight onto Trump's vulnerabilities. She wasn't just countering, she was exposing. Every word carried the weight of headlines, every phrase a dagger aimed at the mythology Trump had built around himself. Trump tried to interject, but the noise of the crowd drowned him out. The power he once held over audiences was slipping, and Crockett was the reason. Trump leaned forward, frustration burning through his expression, and lashed out once more.
I'll tell you what, CNN should be ashamed of itself having you working for them. You are a rude, terrible person. You shouldn't be working for CNN. Go ahead.
He aimed the insult like a missile, trying to discredit Crockett by linking her to the media he so often branded as the enemy. His words dripped with contempt, designed to rally his loyalists and paint her as unworthy of the stage. But Crockett didn't recoil. She struck back instantly, her tone razor-sharp, her delivery flawless. "Donald, you think calling me names will silence me? The truth is louder than your insults, and tonight America hears it. Every attack you throw is just proof that you have no defense left." The audience erupted. Applause thundered through the hall, drowning out the remnants of Trump's tirade. Crockett had not only deflected the attack, she had flipped it, turning Trump's aggression into his own humiliation. The eruption of cheers rolled like a wave, shaking the stage. Commentators later described it as the moment Trump lost control of the room. His attempts at dominance dissolved into scattered boos from detractors, while Crockett basked in the roar of approval. What was meant to be an insult became the spotlight for her triumph. And in that instant, the power dynamic shifted permanently. The noise of the crowd lingered, a storm of applause that refused to fade. Trump tried to interject again, but every word he attempted was drowned out by the reaction he had never anticipated. Jasmine Crockett stood firm, letting the moment breathe before delivering the final blow.
She became a career prosecutor while he became a career criminal. With 34 felonies, 2 impeachments, and 1 porn star to prove it.
The hall fell into stunned silence, and then an eruption. Applause, cheers, and chants filled the space, louder than at any point in the night. The weight of her words landed with undeniable force, cutting through every defense Trump had tried to build. She framed him not just as an opponent, but as a man unworthy of the oath he once swore. Trump shifted uncomfortably, his trademark smirk gone. For the first time that evening, he looked cornered. Crockett had not only exposed his weaknesses, she had sealed them into a message that would echo beyond the debate stage, replayed across television networks and social media feeds. The moderator struggled to regain control, but the narrative was already written. Crockett had flipped Trump's attacks into humiliation, and the audience had crowned her the victor with their thunderous response. As the cameras closed in on her final expression, it was clear this was more than a debate moment. It was a cultural flashpoint. Crockett had carved her place in the political arena, proving she could not only withstand Trump's fire, but extinguish it in front of the entire nation.